Hey everyone, welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Ashley Mova, and this is the daily show where we give you all of the latest news from the world of movies, plus a little bit of insight into what it all means. Leading off the show today is AMC Movie News production manager, Dennis Zen.
Hello everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of AMC Movie Talk. I just wanted to share with you guys, I don't know if you guys are Game of Thrones fans, but I went with John Schnepp to the AMC City Walk to watch that whole IMAX special. We got to see it on the big screen. It was pretty fantastic. I think today's the last day they have it going on.
Also here, AMC's Christian Harloff.
I want everybody to do a hashtag Mova needs to watch The Princess Bride.
I hate myself. Also here, AMC's Alicia Malone.
You haven't seen The Princess Bride? I mean, I've seen The Princess Bride. Hello.
Universal has released a brand new trailer for Furious 7. This is the second full trailer and clocks in at almost 3 minutes. This is the first film of the franchise directed by James Wan, who is known for helming horror movies like Saw and Insidious. The movie stars Vin Diesel, Paul Walker, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Michelle Rodriguez, Tyrese, Ludacris, Jason Statham, Kurt Russell, and Ronda Rousey. Furious 7 opens in AMC theaters everywhere on April 3rd. Dennis, what do you think about this latest trailer?
I really liked it. I think James Wan understands what Justin Lin did with the franchise and has embraced that, the ridiculous, over-the-top action, the silliness, the fun of it. Because I was not a fan of the first two Fast and the Furious movies because I thought they took themselves too seriously. And I didn't watch, I think, the third or fourth one, but the fifth one is the one that got me. And I think James Wan is a good choice after seeing this trailer. And I'm expecting it to do a lot of things. I saw in the trailer, I can't wait for the Jason Statham and The Rock fight. Yeah. That looked cool. Just the ridiculousness of the cars parachuting down, flying through buildings. And as an MMA fan, it was cool seeing Ronda Rousey in that short sequence fighting. I don't know. What do you think, Christian?
I agree with you 100%. Pretty much the same thing. The first two or three I just didn't care about. And then I'll be honest, when the fourth one was announced, I'm like, who cares? Stop making these movies. And then the fifth one came along, and I'm like, shut up, old me, because this is great. This is exactly the way I felt when I used to watch old Arnold movies or old Stallone movies. This is the type of genre now with action, the way where it's gone and evolved to. You expect it to be cartoonish, but in a fun way, and everybody looks great in this movie. I love even the fact with Vin Diesel when we talk about our friends, our family, great stuff. And then Jason Statham, I'm coming to get you, you know what I mean? Like, all that stuff is so great, and just leading up. I want to see The Rock, he rock bottoms Statham in the middle of it. That's great. The battle between him and Vin Diesel, I'm on board, 100%.
Alicia?
Yeah, I think it's awesome. You know, I'm a secret fan of Vin Diesel. I had a big teenage crush. I went through a huge Vin Diesel phase where I watched the first and second Fast and Furious on repeat and Triple X. I love that. But anyway, so I love the first two. The third and the fourth lost me, but then the fifth got me back in. It just gets more and more outrageous with every single episode. I worry that in the future, if they keep going, that it'll jump the shark at some point. But right now, it just looks awesome. It looks insane. As Tyrese's characters say, this takes crazy to a whole new level. And I can't wait for that fight. Statham versus The Rock. Love it.
I think the franchise knows what it is, you know? It's not trying to be something else now. And I think that's what, you know, when we talk about other movies that we don't like and people complain like, oh, you guys just don't know how to turn off your brain. I turn off my brain for the Furious franchise because it's fun.
And
you're supposed to, right. And it tells you to, basically. And like you said with Wan, I think I'm a big James Wan fan, and to be able to watch him transition into action. And you're right, it looks like from what we've seen in the trailers, he has absolutely embraced what has come before him, and he's not trying to do something so brand new, because we don't need something so brand new right now. We want the same stuff that we like. We're going to feel his flair on it for sure. That's the kind of director he is. Yeah. But he's also staying true to what came before him and what was successful.
And that one line when Vin Diesel looks at Paul Walker and says, "One last ride." I mean, that gave me chills. Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Disney and Lucasfilm have cast Oscar-nominated actress Felicity Jones to star in a Star Wars spin-off movie directed by Godzilla director Gareth Edwards. It is not known what the story will be or which character Jones will play, but About a Boy writer Chris Weitz will be penning the screenplay. Christian, what do you think of the news of Felicity Jones and her own Star Wars spin-off movie?
I'm so sick of Star Wars. Come on! This is great. I love this. You're kidding me. I love it. And the fact that now we heard about Tatiana Maslany, that she had gotten this. Apparently that's not the case. Looks like Felicity Jones is part of this. We don't know necessarily how much of the lead. She's going to have a big prominent role. What rumors, if you want to listen to rumors, is some people think she might be playing Sabine from the Rebels series, which would be great because that actually fits in and would make sense because she would be a bounty hunter and a Mandalorian, depending on what has happened since Rebels. But from all the rumors that we've heard, that it's going to be a Usual Suspects type movie with the bounty hunter stealing the plans for the Death Star. If that is indeed the case, I'm all for it because Felicity Jones is awesome. She's great. Everything she's been in so far, she's one of the. It's, to me, exactly what Star Wars has been doing so far since Disney bought the rights. They're going after quality talent. They're going after people. Each movie, we're getting one a year now. Go after quality talent, quality directors. I'm in.
Alicia?
Yeah, I'm definitely in. Speaking from an indie lover's perspective, I noticed Felicity Jones in Like Crazy, and she was so vulnerable and so really heartbreaking in that role. And then to see her in The Theory of Everything, where she has this quiet strength about her. And then I just watched True Story at Sundance with Jonah Hill and James Franco, and she plays Jonah's girlfriend. She has this one great monologue where she delivers it, and she's so powerful. So I love the fact that she's going to be doing some action now, because we've seen what she can do acting-wise, and now she's given the chance to do a big studio film. I think it's great.
Yeah, I'm also a fan of Felicity Jones. I saw her in Like Crazy as well. It was very heartbreaking with her and Anton Yelchin. And Theory of Everything, she's Oscar nominated. I think this is like, obviously the Oscar nomination is going to get her in front of a lot of eyeballs. But then, being a star of a standalone Star Wars film, that's going to take her career to the next level. I know a lot of Orphan Black fans were disappointed because Tatiana, I don't know how to pronounce her, Maslany was not. I think Rooney Mara was also up for that role as well. So she must have done something in the audition that really blew away the Disney studio execs for her to get it.
The question now is, too, if this is indeed the case, let's say for all things that she is playing Sabine with some Mandalorian, also big rumors that Boba Fett's going to come back, and there was people, or maybe Fassbender or somebody else playing it. That, to me, that this is going to be so much fun to see that this is the direction they're going for the spinoff, if it indeed is, and this also goes back to what we've talked about many times, is that I like the idea that they have started saying, look, this is a strong female role right away. This is the lead of it. And Mandalorians are no joke. They've had Mandalorian characters that are female in the Clone Wars series, in Rebels. So it's going to be something special.
Okay, what do you guys think about Gareth Edwards directing and Chris Weitz writing the script?
Well, I love About a Boy, Chris Weitz, but obviously it's going to be very different script to this. But Gareth Edwards, I didn't like Godzilla that much, but I still hold on to the monsters, Gareth Edwards. He showed so much promise in that indie. So I'm really hoping he does a good job.
I think, and this is, again, just hoping that it is indeed the Bounty Hunter movie. I think he's perfect if that is the movie, the dark tone to what's going to happen, and I want it to be a faster pace than it was in Godzilla, because when the action delivered in Godzilla,
then it was cool.
Albeit at the very end of the film, it delivered. So I don't think that Star Wars is going to allow him to tease action. It's going to require him to do more action, and he's really good at it once it happens. But we also got to put together a great story. We also got to put together why, if it is indeed why we're stealing these plans, how the bounty hunters get to do it, what the emotion is behind it. Because the Mandalorian people are a very complex race. So to finally get into the Mandalorian lore will be spectacular for Star Wars fans.
Well, Chris Weitz is coming off of Cinderella, so he must have done a great job that Disney is like, okay, you could have you do the Star Wars movie.
And he's touching it up, too, because remember, it was Witta's script first, and so that he's probably coming in doing. And just because he, what was the first About a Boy and Cinderella, we don't know if he's probably diehard Star Wars fan. They're like, hey, you want to switch over? Yes, I want to get away from Cinderella now, and now I want to write Star Wars. So you never know how much of a hardcore fan he may or may not be.
Yeah, and I like Godzilla. It was disappointing. It was slower paced, but yeah, you're right. It's not. They were doing the Jaws thing for that movie. They're not going to do that for Star Wars.
You can't do it for Star Wars.
Yeah. All right. What's next? Oh, we're on to buy or sell. What's the first topic?
Deadline is reporting that talks of a live-action Robotech movie are being resurrected at Warner Brothers. Robotech was a popular Japanese anime about transforming fighter jet robots and was adapted for U.S. audiences in the 1980s. Michael Gordon, who wrote movies like 300 and G.I. Joe: Rise of Cobra, is reportedly penning the script. Alicia, buy or sell a live-action Robotech actually happening?
I'm unsure. I mean, this has been in the works for so many years. They've had a lot of issues with rights because the studio had to buy the franchise rights from one company, the characters' rights from another company. Remember, Tobey Maguire was involved, like back in 2007. So I just don't know how they'll pull it off with so many characters and so many special effects. I know that Michael Gordon, he did that really well with 300, less well with G.I. Joe, Rise of Cobra. I'm not sure. I just wish that they could keep it anime because this series was so groundbreaking in terms of exposing a wider audience to anime. I wish that they could just keep it like that. So I'm tentatively selling it.
Christian?
I buy it. I think they're going to do it. And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, you would know better than me, but didn't Warner Brothers lose Pacific Rim?
Yes.
Universal has it. So they saw that it did pretty well from that type of big it would be their replacement, I think, for Pacific Rim in a certain sense. But they've been trying to go for a very long time. These movies are working right now. Regardless of what you think about Transformers, everyone at the table has the exact same opinion of it.
It makes money.
It makes money. And if you can put together a team that has been successful in the past, this is a property that would be very cool to bring to life if they could indeed do it with that team. So I buy that it eventually will happen. Now the question is, 2 years, 5 years, eventually it will happen.
Despite having serious doubts that it will ever get made, I'll buy it just because I'm hoping that they make it. Other than, I think, Voltron from the 80s, this is probably another one that I really want to get seen done. I enjoyed the Macross saga, originally with Rick Hunter and Min-Mei. It almost had like a soap opera storyline going on amongst the fighting, transforming robots. And so
It's like Downton Abbey with robots?
a little bit. So for that fact, I will buy it hesitantly.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Animal Logic Entertainment and Japan's Suzuka Productions are partnering up to develop a live-action film version of the popular Japanese anime character Astro Boy. This comes 6 years after a CGI version was released by Imagi Entertainment. Dennis, buy or sell a live-action Astro Boy?
I'm gonna sell it. I was probably one of the few people who actually saw the CG movie in the theaters, and I thought I enjoyed it. I mean, there was definitely issues with it, but I mean, the movie made, I think it cost $65 million and it made $40 million, and not domestically, $40 million worldwide. So I don't know how a live-action version of this movie is gonna do any better. It's not super well known nowadays, and just I think the essence and the core feeling of it fits more with the CG. I mean, I know it was originally anime and manga, but I just don't know if a live-action version is it. Christian?
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going to sell it. Now, that's not to say that if they wind up getting it off the ground as live action, then you hear that Spielberg's directing it, and you have somebody, an up-and-coming, I don't know how old he is, but you have somebody really, the talent that they put together, and we get a good trailer, then I could switch that. But I agree with you. I think that it would work better as if they maybe rebooted it again as a CGI film, or not as a live action. I just don't, like you said, it's not a well-known property. It could be really tough to do, but it just, like we've said a million times, it depends on the team they put together if they are going to do it.
Yeah,
Alicia?
I'm selling this as well because I mean, I'd love to see the series back on TV because I loved this when I was young. I used to watch it all the time. I loved his swishy hair and those boots. I wanted those boots. But Animal Logic is the Australian company involved with producing this. They're known for animation. They did Happy Feet and then also the Lego movie. So I think they could do that really well if it was animation. It's strange that they're going for, don't die.
Thank you.
Strange that they're going for live action, and also that they compare it with Iron Man. They said that they see Astro Boy in the same sphere as Iron Man, and that they're going after the comic book loving audience, which just seems weird because this always appealed to a younger audience.
I'm learning in this show that Alicia is like a secret anime fan. She seems to know a lot about Japanese animation.
Yeah, that and Mighty Mouse. Do you remember Mighty Mouse?
Yes.
I have an animation version of Clockwork Orange.
No.
No.
All right, guys, that's it for buy or sell. Before we get into Mailbag, I want to remind you that we'll be answering your live Twitter questions. You can tweet us at AMC Movie News, and Ashley will pick a few out. But now on to Mailbag. What do we got first?
Andrew Bullen writes, "Hey ladies and or gentlemen, love the show and watch it every day. My question is, what are your favorite movie scores of all time? While I don't think movie scores make or break a movie, I think they can be the difference from an excellent movie and an iconic movie. Your thoughts?"
Some of my favorites are Sunshine by John Murphy, The Fountain, Clint Mansell, Lawrence of Arabia, Maurice Jarre, and then obviously all John Williams stuff is iconic, and stuff that comes from movies like Rocky, Godfather, Lord of the Rings, Batman, Danny Elfman's Batman, stuff like that. I definitely think it doesn't make a movie great, but it definitely helps elevate its iconic status when you can hear a piece of music and go, oh, I know what that movie that's from. Christian?
I think score is very important to film. It's funny too, because if you take certain scores out of a movie, put another one in there on a great scene, it really alters it. I don't care how good the acting is. If you it shifts the mood of a film. So it's crucial. I'm a big scores guy. Here's a couple of ones that I thought.
Got a list.
I got a list. Eternal Sunshine of Spotless Mind by John Bryan. X-Men: Days of Future Past. I really like. X-Men First Class. Shawshank Redemption. Braveheart.
Yes.
Empire Strikes Back. Road to Perdition. Transformers by Steve Jablonsky. Movies crap on a garbage wheel, but Transformers itself is a great score. Inception, Alan Silvestri's Back to the Future, the most recent Robin Hood with Ridley Scott's Robin Hood, the score is really good in that, and of course you said of it, Rocky.
Okay.
Bill Conti.
Well, I have to go Bernard Herrmann's score for Psycho. I love that score, and not just the but the driving stuff too. I hear that score, I get excited. I saw the Hitchcock music live at the Hollywood Bowl last year, and that was the best moment of my life. And of course, you have to mention John Williams, like you did. Jaws would be my favorite score of his. Not only that theme, I mean, what he was able to do with 2 notes, incredible, but also the wider score as well, the rest of it. And I love Clint Mansell, so Requiem for a Dream is probably my favorite movie score of all time, and I listen to that in the car, which I know makes me really dark and disturbing, but that's me.
Well, they used that one piece from Requiem Dream for a bunch of trailers. Yeah.
It makes anything epic.
Yes. Yep.
Slow motion.
True.
He also did the Moon score
Yeah,
as well.
and that was similar.
Johnny Greenwood for There Will Be Blood. That was a great score.
Yeah, that was so haunting. It's just full
Yeah.
of dread.
And I also mentioned John Bryan. He also did the score for Paranorman, which was a really good score as well, too, underrated score.
I just saw a movie, I don't remember the composer's name, and I only liked the movie, I didn't love the movie, A Most Violent Year.
Yeah.
But the score was fantastic
score was
in that.
great.
So, all right, what's next?
Joseph Meldrum writes, hello AMC. My question is about when an actor becomes a known entity. I can remember a time when I was the only one who knew who Scarlett Johansson was. Nobody knew who I was talking about when I was referencing Lost in Translation. For a while, she became that one girl from the island, and her appearance in superhero movies has greatly increased the spread of Scarlet fever. Do you have to be well-known and or well-liked to be considered an A-list actor? Thanks.
Well, Joseph, I must be cooler than you because I heard of Scarlett Johansson before Lost in Translation. She played Thor Birch's best friend in Ghost World by Terry Zwigoff, based on the Daniel Clowes comic book. So, in terms of an A-list actor, well-known, well-liked, yes, but there's more. There's talent and fan base. I mean, you would, and it also depends on a bunch of different things. So you can take a look at. I don't know, like someone like Michael Fassbender. I consider him an A-list talent. He's not as well known as some other people, you know. If you ask, the casual movie fan, who's Michael Fassbender? They'll be like, who?
Right.
And then you'd have to say, oh, he plays Magneto, and then they'll say, oh, yeah, that guy. You take someone like Keanu Reeves. He's actually well known and well liked, but he's not super
Not great,
talented,
yeah.
and his fan base is not as big as some other people. So it's tough. It's a lot of factors. What do you guys think?
I agree. We talked about this not too long ago with what exactly makes A-list, because I was arguing the fact that I think Jake Gyllenhaal is an A-list actor. And then some people at the table were saying no, because he's never been in that big blockbuster movie. But as far as talent and fame, I think most people do know who Gyllenhaal is. But I also agree that, with Fassbender, even Tom Hardy, so many times with Tom Hardy, I brought up he's one of the best out there, but people not in our space, like, my mom would be like, who?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, but those guys are poised to be more famous than they are, but I think that they're A-list talent because the amount of, when you think of an A-list, you got to think about like when the agents and the studio people are looking at their list of people. Fassbender was number 3 behind DiCaprio, Bale, and then Fassbender. That's A-list, regardless of how famous he is or not. So I'm talking about for jobs, but when it's just, if you poise them on a list, I think that's how you would determine it.
Yeah, it's like the list with the agents and us knowing about them, and then the wider people, like you're saying, and things like tabloids and red carpets and who people want to see more of. You know, it's like Angelina Jolie and George Clooney, and they all, who I consider A-list actors, even though I'd say that some of the lesser known people are probably better actors than some of those big names. So I think it's just when an actor transitions from us, people like us knowing, film geeks knowing about them, to people just on the street knowing about them.
There seems to be like the A-list in terms of talent, and then the A-list in terms of fame.
Yes.
And then there's some that have both of them.
Yeah.
Well, that's the mixture, too.
Exactly.
You mentioned Keanu Reeves, because Keanu Reeves is obviously super famous. Everyone knows who he is from the things he's done in the past.
Matrix.
But if you look at that list, even when Doctor Strange came out, right, he was rumored on there, but I bet you he was like number 10 or 15 down on the list, because he's a likable bad actor. He's not right now with John Wick. He is a little bit back on top with the fans because he delivered in that movie. But you want to see him more kicking face than you want to see him acting.
Yeah, whereas Bradley Cooper is really famous,
Absolutely.
and he's also got that talent as well.
Okay. All right, what's next?
Cassie Drake writes, "Hey guys, I just started listening to the show this past summer and it's quickly become my favorite. My question for you guys is this: if you could mash up 2 genres into one film, what would it be? We've all seen a million romantic comedies and a million action comedies. What's the next big thing? For me personally, I would love to see a romantic horror film. I'm interested to see what you guys come up with. Thanks."
Romantic horror.
Yeah.
I don't think there's too many of those. The only one I can think of is, it's not really horror, but what was that zombie movie?
Warm Bodies.
Yeah, that one I like with Nicholas Hoult.
A rom-com.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one. I mean, for me, 2 of my favorite genres that I would love to see mashed up is crime and sci-fi, like something set in the future in space.
Like Looper?
Huh?
Looper
kind of, and then more on the that didn't have as much of the crime. I mean, like something like a crime syndicate in the future, some mafia-style stuff like that. But I'm sure there are some as well. What about you guys?
I want sci-fi fantasy, like a blend of. That's why, because you had Jupiter Descending come out and Seventh Son. It's like, try to combine those and do some more that we'll talk about another time. But for me, the thing that I always wanted to do, and I told you many times when I was working at Warner Brothers, when He-Man was over there, Masters of the Universe has that ability, if done right, to mix the elements of Lord of the Rings and Star Wars together. That is a fantastic. You could put some that we really haven't seen too much of. The fact that you could have that old time fantasy feel and then a cruiser kind of zoom through it. That's a world we haven't really explored too much of, and I would be super excited to see it.
John Carter kind of was like that,
sci-fi
fantasy.
It was, but I mean, more of like but it was still on a different planet. To where it like that feel of Lord of the Rings, like Game of Thrones. Imagine like Game of Thrones with like technology in it as well too, like that mixing the science fiction in the world of a Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones. To me, that's super exciting.
Okay. Alicia?
I love film noir, and so I like when film noir mixes with other genres, like film noir sci-fi, which I guess you could say Looper was fairly similar to that, or a film noir chick flick, or a gangster chick flick. That would be awesome. More women and more film noir. Classics. Love it.
All right, guys, that's it for Mailbag. Now on to the live Twitter questions. You can tweet us at AMC Movie News. Ashley, what do you got picked out?
Toto Los Diaz writes, "Have you guys seen the Poltergeist trailer? If so, what do you think?"
Yes, we were going to talk about that, but yeah, we saw it. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I'm a big Sam Rockwell fan. I'm not, a huge horror fan, so I enjoyed it. They didn't have the classic "they're here" line in it. What did you guys think?
I'm still scared.
Yeah?
I saw it before the show. My palms are still sweaty. I'm terrible with horror. I remember seeing Poltergeist when I was young and I couldn't sleep for days. And I think that'll be the same thing with this great cast. And it just looks really scary. There's a clown.
Yes.
There's a clown.
See, I'm not the biggest horror fan either, but Poltergeist, the original, is a fantastic horror film for me, because it doesn't rely on jump scares. It doesn't rely on a slasher. It's about these people are haunted in this house, and why. And they even say it in the trailer for this one, is that the ancient burial ground. That's kind of the reveal in the first movie. So it's interesting that they put that in the trailer. But yeah, I mean, the reason I think that I'm on board for this trailer is because of the cast. I like who they cast. I like, again, going after quality talent to be in a movie like this, and it looks like they are paying respect to the original as well. They'll probably add some new stuff. And like you said, Rockwell. Anything that guy does, anything he does, I'll give it a chance because he's so good.
DeWitt's so good.
Yeah, she's really good
She's
too.
great.
She's been stepping up lately as well. But Rockwell for me is the main reason that I'm interested in.
He should be A-list, Rockwell.
Yes.
Yeah, right. He needs that one movie that he hasn't really hit. Like like we said, everything he's in, he's incredible in, but he hasn't had that starring role in something to where he's been the guy. Maybe he doesn't want to. Who knows?
I don't know. I think Rockwell's the main reason I'd want to see it as well. But I haven't seen any of the movies that the director, I think his name's Gil Kennan or something like that. He did Monster House and City of Ember, but I haven't seen either one, so I can't judge.
neither.
I'm not, All right, what's next?
Blade GTR writes, "Hey everyone, just wondering if John Wick 2 has been confirmed or is it just another widespread rumor?"
Christian, what do you got on that?
From what I read is that movies.com interviewed the directors, and they had said in it that they were working on the sequel, and movies.com is totally legit. So and they were sitting there talking to the directors, and it was right out of the director's mouth. So I would assume that if they say they're working on it, they're working on it. That's awesome. I don't know if it's going to be. And I think we've all said this at the table that we want to see it be about that hotel, like what was going on at that hotel. That could be a lot of fun. Or maybe if they do another sequel, then they can spin off into a third one with the hotel. I want to see more movies like that. I want to see more like you said before, it would turn your brain off and just having fun watching. That was a fun movie, a throwback film, and Keanu Reeves was great in that role. He was. That's what he is, and he's what, 50 years old. He's able to do that. So keep doing them while you can.
Alicia?
Yeah, I agree. I love John Wick. I thought it was so much fun. I wasn't expecting to love it, but I really had a great time. And I love the Greek mythology that went on with that hotel. It was so interesting. And then speaking to the directors, I got to interview them several times, and they always said that they see this as a franchise, and that's their hope, that it'll continue on. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a second one. I also tried pitching an idea, John Wick to Red Fury, with the villain, a smiling assassin, but they didn't go for that.
No, huh?
Yeah, I like you guys. I really enjoyed John Wick. The only concern I have, and I'm glad they're making one, and I like that Keanu Reeves is in this role. I'm worried that part of the fun of it, besides the awesome action, was kind of the revenge aspect of it. And I don't know if you can really build that up again. It was his dead wife with the dead dog. Yeah, they can't do that again.
Don't kill
what is
dog.
it going to be? What is it going to be that motivating factor for him? And the hotel is really cool as well. All right, what's next?
LV2 Live2 writes, "When am I going to get my next good gangster film? Johnny Depp is doing one, but can I trust it/him?"
That one I think you can trust. I'll tell you why. And if you saw my thoughts on Mordecai, you'd be like, how are you trusting him? Because of the Whitey Bulger story. It's fascinating. It really is fascinating to what. And if you've seen The Departed, there are elements of Jack Nicholson's character was based on Whitey Bulger. This is the kind of role I want to see Johnny Depp do again. Get away from all the kind of strange stuff, play someone real in life, see what. And go a little more intense. This could be the next gangster film. I agree. I don't think we've had a good one in a little bit. I thought that what was the one Gangster Squad?
Oh, that was terrible.
It was terrible.
Oh.
And I thought it was going to be, but the
I thought
trailer
it was going to be great.
The trailer was great.
I went on the set for that, and they were doing their version of the Copa shot. And I was like, this is going to be awesome. It's going to be like Godfather meets Goodfellas.
And then Sean Penn was doing something. Say hello to Santa Claus. What are you doing, man?
They had such a great cast, too.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Really terrible. But I agree that I think that we could trust this next Johnny Depp picture more because he's not as heavily involved. I don't think he's producing this one.
And he's not a cartoon.
He was really heavily involved in Mordecai, and he wanted to make that quirky character. And I think we're all done with that.
Yeah, I think that one definitely has a higher chance than any of his other movies. And I think, weren't they negotiating with him to take a pay cut as well to make that movie happen? So if he's actually taking a pay cut for it, then he must really want to do it. And
Or they have good ammunition and they saw earlier cuts of Mordecai.
Oh. All right, let's take one more.
Alessandro writes, "Who's a historic figure you'd want to see a biopic of?"
Historic figure.
Good one.
That's tough.
I know they were talking about Hannibal for a long time. I don't know if they're still doing it. I know Vin Diesel is attached at one point to Hannibal. That'd be really interesting too. I still want to see more about Caesar and all, like a different. Rome did it well at the HBO show.
Yes.
I'd like to see another Sometimes they don't do Roman films well, but I'd like to see just the mythology of it with Mark Antony and Cleopatra. And I know they talked about Cleopatra was the whole Sony leak, was that the Angelina Jolie Cleopatra. I kind of hope that one doesn't happen. I'd like to see a version of that happen. We'll see. Alicia?
Yeah, I can't think. Historical figures. Don't really know history very well.
Well, Caesar would be a good one.
Caesar
Well,
would be
I watched
cool,
that Rome
yeah.
series and it was great, but I mean, the second season was super rushed.
It was rushed,
Plus,
yeah.
it didn't have anything to do with Caesar as well.
No, and they covered. It was supposed to branch out to so many seasons. They basically went off for so many years of Roman history in one season because they knew they were ending it. But if there's no Rome, that series. If there's no Rome, there's no Game of Thrones. So I'm super happy that series was able to
I would
happen.
just say more like film history stuff, well, behind the scenes in Hollywood. I'm looking forward to Hail Caesar with the Coen brothers because that's about the 50s. Anything to do with that. I love those movies about Hitchcock, even though they didn't paint him in the best light.
There was like two
with
movies, right?
Yeah.
About Hitchcock.
Yeah.
One was an
Yeah,
HBO movie and
and
one
one
was
with Anthony Hopkins.
The Girl and then Hitchcock. And I just saw a great documentary at Sundance on Marlon Brando. And I know it would be a really tough task to find someone to be able to play Marlon Brando, but he had such an interesting life, really tragic life as well, and very complicated. So I'd love to see that.
Okay. All right, guys, that's it for today's show. I want to thank everyone joining me here at the table today. Christian, where can people find you online?
Easily on Twitter at Christian Harloff and on Instagram Christian Harloff. And if you do watch Rebels, do you think Felicity Jones could play Sabine? Curious what you guys think.
And Alicia, where can people find you?
I'm going to be reading my history books, and you can find me at Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at Alicia Malone.
And Ashley, where can people find you online?
Watching Princess Bride.
Exactly. You guys
Two.
can send me more Princess Bride hashtags at Ashley Mova on Twitter and Instagram. Happy Thursday, guys.
And you guys can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero, on Instagram, Dennis.tzng. And just a reminder, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already to the AMC Theaters YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/AMC Theaters. And hope you get, not Friday today, today's Thursday. I keep thinking because I'm hosting it's Friday. But anyways, I will see you guys tomorrow.
Hey everyone, if you like this video, click that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It's free and helps you stay up to date with all the latest movie news, as well as our daily AMC Movie Talk show. Also, make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date with all of our special promotions, contests, and prize giveaways.